Hey love, don't you deserve great sex? We think so. Welcome to Sex in South Beach, where everybody comes to talk, listen, and learn about sex.
I'm your girl, Dr. Sonjia, your favorite sex educator, and today is all about anal.
Ow!
Exactly, ow. So I'm super excited about today's show because guess what? Everybody wants to know about anal. And we're going to find out, why do people do it? Okay, ladies, does it ever feel good to a woman? And we're also going to find out, if you are going to do it, what's the best way to go about it? A, to reduce pain, and B, to make sure you don't get something from doing it. And you know what I did? I brought you an anal sex expert. Who else would do that for you? Really? No one but your girl, Dr. Sonjia. So stay tuned to Sex in South Beach, and we'll be right back.
Yeah!
Because you know it's all about the scent, smells so good. It's all about the scent, smells so good. Yeah, it's pretty clear, the boys they follow me. Cause I shake it, I shake that sense on me. Then they go boom boom and then they start chasing. And wanna kiss me up in all the right places. You go, girl, with a whole cart full of sense-stimulating body oil. I know you're about to get your groove on. Can I tell you, the boys love sense even more than they love the bass. Get yours today at drsonjia.com.
Welcome back to Sex in South Beach with your girl, Dr. Sonjia. So I'm super excited about today's show. It is all about anal, because we actually have an anal sex expert. If you're going to do anal sex, this is the guy you need to try it out with first, okay? Everybody give it up for Miami's anal sex expert, my boy.
So good to see you.
It's great to see you. So I'm texting Jaron earlier, and I'm like, yeah, I'll see you later for anal. Okay, that doesn't sound right. So, I mean, you guys know I'm married, so you're probably wondering, well, how do you know Jaron is an anal sex expert, right? Well, actually, my husband told me, and no, not the way that
Nothing at all.
Actually, my husband was out with the boys one night. Okay, this story's just getting worse. So he's like, yeah, me and the boys, we're sitting around drinking, and we're talking about sex, and, Jaron comes up, and he starts talking to us, and he's like, I had this issue. I've just been, doing a lot of anal sex lately. And of course, all their ears peak. They're like, what? And they're like, dude, how do you ask her? What do you get into? And he's like, no, they're asking me for anal sex. And I just can't stop doing it. I'm on a roll. So my husband came home that night and he's like, who you need to have on the show? Jared. He is an anal sex expert. He's had a lot of anal. And of course, I did ask, like, how do you know? Okay, tell me, why do they do it? What's the point of anal sex?
So, anal sex is a really tricky thing, because automatically you think anal sex, you think about homosexual relationships.
Right.
But really,
male homosexual
relationships, but not only that, you think of, sexual deviancy, you think of fetish,
right?
You think of dominate, dom subs relationships, BDSM and things like that. But really, anal sex is just another avenue, and it's just another. It's a regular sexual act,
right?
And it's been demonized over the years, centuries really. There's still laws in the United States kind of banning sodomy.
Absolutely.
That it's illegal to sodomize your partner, even if it is a heterosexual relationship. And so, of course, over the years, growing up, it's just learning about sex, learning about everything in general, but I started to get interested in there's this other thing that's interesting.
Some backdoor booty. The booty looks nice, but there's another hole too.
Yeah, and
right?
You know what? Who doesn't like a little taboo?
Right?
Because that is a little bit more fun. It's not about necessarily the act itself. It's just the taboo and the different kind of pleasures you can glean from it.
Right.
And so being able to hit other kind of nerve centers and other kind of places that a girl maybe didn't necessarily knew existed, really is kind of the point of it.
So it's really just sort of, you're looking at it as another avenue of almost sexual exploration, but also an act of bonding almost. It's like, okay, we've already had regular sex. And, you know, I've already gone down, you've gone down, and, you know, we tried the ear, and we tried the nose. Hey, we missed the butt, right? It's just like, let's bond over that, right?
Well, and that is another thing. I think there's a quote floating around out there that anal sex is the most selfless, regular sexual act that a person can perform. In that, you know, there is no regular, natural sort of stimuli.
Okay, so, one, the women you've been with,
Yeah.
do they orgasm from anal?
Yes.
So they have a vaginal orgasm, right? You can't have an anal orgasm.
Well, yes and no.
Okay.
I'm always of the mind to have 3 points of stimulation at all points. And so you could have clitoral, vaginal, and anal,
Okay.
for instance. And so you might have a clitoral orgasm, a vaginal orgasm, or an anal orgasm. But just directly opposite of the G-spot is the A-spot.
Right.
Which is basically in the vaginal wall, but it's neighbors to the anus.
I love his man who knows his alphabet spots, right? Because it's much more than an orgasm or a G-spot, right? He's like, the A-spot. Show coming up. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yep. So leading up to full penetration with, you know, with the penis, you know, you can have tensile stimulation with your fingers.
Right.
You know, while you're having sex or during.
So you're
sex.
saying, so during anal sex.
Correct.
If you're stimulating the clitoris or other areas, nipples or other areas of a woman, that can bring her to orgasm.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's just multiple points of contact and multiple stimuli, and of course, women are hypersensitive in all of their stimulus places, and so, but just getting them going, getting that momentum going, getting them turned on, getting them going in the way that they like to, also makes them more comfortable to really allow that pleasure to come out as well.
Okay, so the studies show girls who like to have anal sex, they also, it's kind of, as you said, it's a taboo thing. So you're kind of like a bad girl if you have anal sex. So studies have shown that girls who do have anal sex, they like that title. They kind of resonate with that title. Like, I'm a bad girl now. It's a little, you know, forbidden. It's a little, ooh, I'm bad now. Have you found that to be true? It's really girls who can identify with that, ooh, I'm going to be bad right now. That's really what studies have shown really attracts some women to anal sex. Is like, ooh, it's a little taboo. I'm going to do it. Yeah.
That's true. And I find that some girls that sort of gravitate towards, you know, being more open to the possibilities of anal sex than others, kind of tend to be open to other types of sexual taboos as well, not just anal sex. They get into bondage, you know, of course BDSM. They get into like lots of different types of fetishes. And so they explore anal sex, and that's actually, I would say, even an easier kind of fetish to get into than maybe other ones, like bondage and more like dom sub situations that are more intense. Anal sex is an easier one because you have all the tools.
I was gonna say, you don't need any equipment like S&M. You gotta get a whip. You gotta, you know, bondage. You got things to do. Anal is all there. All the parts are there.
You just need the know-how.
Right. Okay. So there's also women who have had surgical procedures. Some women who have had a colposcopy or a hysterectomy or different sort of surgical procedures can actually shorten the length of the vagina. And women who have had those procedures have also been shown to really gravitate more towards anal sex because it allows for a deeper penetration. And so that's also when we're thinking about why would people do this, why would they engage in it, and those are some reasons that attract women to anal sex. Before we go into the break, we just want to remind everyone that the anal entrance actually has a lot of sensitive nerve endings, and that really, not only men who are gay, but men who are straight and women of all kinds, that's why they actually do enjoy some anal penetration, is because there's a lot of sensitive nerve endings right at the entry to the anus. And so even if you're a straight woman and you're with a straight man, stimulating that area can not only excite him, it can touch onto the prostate, which is a very stimulating area, but it's also for men and women, those sensitive nerve endings are right there, and that is really where the pleasure can come from anal sex.
Absolutely.
All right, we're gonna take a break now because it's getting hot in here talking about butts. But we're gonna come right back.
You must not know about sense. You must not know about sense. It'll get your love life back on track, and it's all natural. That's a fact. To the left, to the left. Put your sense on the counter to the left. Sense is irreplaceable. Get yours today at drsonjia.com.
Now we're going to talk about men. Like, why do men want to do it? Like, the vagina's not enough? Because a lot of the studies also show that men are asking for it. Mm-hmm. I mean, anal sex back in our grandparents' day, we would not be having this conversation. We would be arrested. But anal sex today is really popular. People are talking about it all the time. So the studies are showing that it's really the request of men that's leading this. So why do men want anal sex?
Well, speaking of popularity,
because you represent all men in the world. Clearly.
You
are our ultimate man here,
and I'm okay with. I'm taking that weight on my shoulders and I'm carrying it like a champion. So speaking of popularity, the CDC actually shows in a study performed from 2006 to 2008 that 44% of men, heterosexual men, have engaged in anal sex, and that 36% of heterosexual women have engaged in anal sex. And now, of course, there's a discrepancy in percentages, but that's not asking couples, one. And
right.
They've polled thousands of people, and that's not counting the women who are ashamed of it, or the men who may have engaged in homosexual anal sex and aren't really admitting it. But why is it so popular? And why are men kind of asking for one? I'm going to say this is the absolute taboo. It's showing up more in pornography and heterosexual pornography, showing up more in kind of like, this is the risque thing to do. This is, quote unquote, the French way. This is like the way you want to do it if you're like cool and hip and like into it and into dirtier things.
And does it feels good? From a man's perspective, I'm asking. I don't have a penis, so yeah.
It's different.
It's different.
It's different. It's different. And of course, you want to use lube. You want to use lube. You want to make sure that everyone's absolutely excited.
Right.
But it does feel different. There's a different texture. There's a different feel. And there's also a different response that you garner from the woman herself to all make it like a different experience altogether. which is the first experience, and that's something that you can't ignore.
So if you are going to have anal, we're going to help you learn how to do it right. I mean, and I think the first rule you've already mentioned, Jaron, which is like lots of lube, right?
Lube is good. Definitely.
Lots of lube, because there is no normal lubrication or no natural lubrication that comes out of the anus, right?
Correct.
Right, and we're talking about real lube. Don't like water. That doesn't do it.
Yeah, it really depends on you and what kind of lube you're comfortable with. And if this is something you really want to explore, you really want to go through different brands and different types. I mean, there are oil-based lubes, there are gel-based, there are water-based lubes. You just be smart about it and really be objective. And
I agree with that. Take the time to find the right lube. I mean, my gosh, if you're going to engage in anal sex and take the time to have that experience, you might as well take a few extra preliminary steps and make sure it's as comfortable as possible.
And a quick horror story, don't use any warming or cooling lube.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
It just don't. Just don't do it.
I believe. Rule number 2, don't eat Mexican. And empty out your bowels.
Yeah.
Right? Empty out your bowels.
Yeah.
You were telling me during the break, you might want to fast before if you know that you're going to be going through this. You want to just make sure that it is as least messy as possible.
It's true. And it's really when you're comfortable with your partner, it's more something that makes you self-conscious if something does tend to happen or leak or anything like that. It's just for yourself, so you feel completely comfortable going into it. because there are instances where, things, whatever.
Right,
Things
happen.
happen. But
with sex, sex is just messy. Things happen
it's a mess.
in all kinds of sex,
weird
right?
smells, there's bodily fluids going everywhere.
Which is why, this show's all about education and promoting healthy, happy sex. Which is why you should really know your partner and feel comfortable with them before you have sex, because you never know what's going to come out. Okay.
Yeah.
One reason to know your partner. But also, use a condom as well. Not only are condoms lubricated, but also that is fecal matter that is inside the anus. That is normally where waste comes from. Fecal matter is full of toxins that could potentially cause an infection. And so having that type of matter correspond the penis hole, not a good idea. Let's just put it that way. Not a good idea, right?
Never a good idea.
You wouldn't put poo in your penis, so don't do it now. Okay. And also, never switch from the vagina to the anus and back to the vagina.
Never go back.
Never go forward, actually. That's the rule, right? You can go from the vagina to the anus, but not from the anus to the vagina.
Once you go butt, you never go back.
Right.
There are a lot of different bacteria involved. There's Shigella, and there are just a lot of things just in your food alone, not including the bacteria.
We're going to try to keep it pleasant, make you want to. We're not trying to discourage anyone from doing any. So
you handle your scandal, but
right there you go.
We're just trying to educate you on the best kind of way to do it.
Yeah.
And for guys who want to try this with their girl and don't know how to bring it up, so because I really hear that girls have a hard time bringing this up with their guy. How does a guy go about bringing this up?
So, I find that you got to go to your seduction basics. And this is now when I say that, absolutely
mesmerizer, hypnotizer, seducer.
Sticky
She's
note.
gonna want some anal.
But it's absolutely not about lies or deceptions or manipulation. It's all about consensual, safe sex. Obviously.
Don't wake her up with your penis in
But, planting seeds at the beginning is one thing. And also do your research, too, so you really have all the hard facts and you have it all figured out on your end.
Right.
And then introducing it little by little. And then by little, I mean literally little by little.
Like a finger?
Like a finger, or even a fingertip.
Right.
Yeah.
A pinky fingertip.
Yeah. or even just, caressing around.
Right. And just gouging her response, gauging her response.
During oral sex, during regular sex, during different positions, you have opportunity to sort of explore that end of things, and you got to really be gentle about it. And little by little, you can sort of explore and see where you can take it before things get rocky. But obviously, conversation is the absolute best way to do it.
Absolutely. And I mean, a lot of ladies have read 50 Shades of Grey, and he talks about anal beads in there a lot. And all these women get excited. Like, I get all these emails, where can I get some beads? Where can I get some beads? And I'm like, they go up your anus. And they're like, what? But, when Christian Grey in 50 Shades of Grey did it, everyone wanted it. So anal beads now are small or large. They come in various sizes that can be inserted into the anus, and that can be a little like foreplay for butt play, right? Like a little butt play that could lead to the main attraction.
Absolutely, and there's also different sex toys that you can get, vibrating sex toys, different like the Benoit or anal beads that have different sizes on the same ring or the same spool or the same toy itself, and so they call them training beads. So you can little by little introduce a person into taking in more and more mass or girth.
And just one word of warning: if you get those training beads, I've heard, from my patients, to get them on a hard sort of connector, not a string, because if someone tightens up their anus and they pull, the string could actually break.
Ow!
So then you got beads in your butt. So
no one wants beads in their butt.
Nobody, right? And the only person who can get them out is a doctor. So then you got to go tell the doctor that you're a whore too. And the other thing that we just want to touch on is that the anal tissue is really, really thin and sensitive down there, and it can tear easily. So you kind of have to be gentle going in, right?
Absolutely. And when I say just a tip, literally just a tip, and not even the whole tip. Because you want to really introduce little by little by little, always keeping in touch with your partner to make sure that it's okay to go that extra centimeter, millimeter, that extra half inch, quarter inch, full inch, whatever you may have.
And then so if when you're really good and you're teasing and you're taunting her, before you know it, she's like, give it to me! I want it all, right? Is that what happens? I mean, you're the anal sex expert. You're like,
you'd be surprised sometimes, and more often than not, people, just the idea of it and actually practicing it safely and conscientiously opens them up to possibilities that they didn't know existed.
Absolutely. Audience, can we give it up for our ultimate man?
Yeah! All right, hey man.
This is Sex in South Beach, and we'll see you next time.
And today's top learning points are: lots of people are having anal intercourse, which is real sex and carries many of the same sexual health risks, so be careful. 2. If you are considering anal intercourse, you want to start off very slowly and gently, little by little, over a long period of time, well before you go for full anal penetration. And 3. Prepare yourself by purchasing lots of lube and cleaning out your bowel system, and of course, discussing it all with your partner. And remember, great sex is safe sex, so always wrap it up.
The main attraction.
Absolutely, and they're also different.
Action. Sorry, I was just rhyming, so I couldn't stop. I think a little poopy comes out.
Hey.
And today's homework is go to sexinSouthBeach.com, sign up for the VIP list so you can get free stuff for better sex. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and check out the Sex in South Beach podcast on Podcast Planet, a whole new world of awesome. You say I'm too late, that I can't keep a date, but I finally found a mate. Yes, I found a mate. I just got some sense and shook it on, and turned him on, on. Awesome, girl. You're buying all the sense-stimulating body oil. Must have a hot weekend ahead. Are you kidding? Sense has saved my love life. Everybody who smells me gets aroused. Get yours today at drsonjia.com.